Another weekend, more injuries. Let's discuss on Fantasy Baseball Today Express. Welcome into FBT Express on Monday, July 14th. I am Frank Stampfl, joined by the returning Scott White, and here we are. First half of the season is in the books. Happy All-Star break. You know, we get to let our hair down a little bit and, have some fun. But before we get to fun, we've got to talk about injuries because Austin Riley was placed in the IL with a right abdominal strain. Nacho Alvarez was recalled by the Braves. And Scott, when looking for replacements, there are three shallow league names that stand out above the rest. We have Addison Barger, Noelvi Marte, and Zach McKinstry. How would you rank those three?
I love Barger, and I kind of reflexively want to put him at the top because I've been hyping him for so long at this point. But I do think I'm going to give Noelvi Marte the edge over him. I loved him heading into last year. Obviously, that season was wrecked for a couple reasons, but mainly the 80-game PED suspension just kind of totally threw Marte off. He didn't seem the same, but he's looked great this year. Both before the IL stint and since returning now, 9 games. He's already homered 3 times, 953 OPS. This is a guy who was considered a top prospect in the Mariners organization from the time he was 17 years old. And now 2 of his 3 years in the majors, small though the sample may be this year, he's looked every bit deserving of that kind of hype. And so I'm going to give Marte the edge. I think the playing time is going to be more consistent than Addison Barger. Zach McKinstry's a distant third for me. I don't really buy it. He's managed to sustain it a lot longer than I expected, to the point he's actually on the All-Star team. But he makes some of the weakest contact of any hitter in baseball. And I think while you can use him, he's obviously eligible in a number of positions. He provides some speed. I think you should feel like you're kind of getting away with it for as long as it lasts. Well, in the case of Marte and Barger, there's genuine upside.
All right, and then some third base replacements in slightly deeper leagues. We have Jorge Polanco, who's picked things back up here in July. He's hitting 300 with 4 homers and a 1064 OPS. And Brady House in even deeper leagues, 2 home runs this weekend. And he's quietly just been solid. 258 batting average, 2 home runs, and 2 steals to this point. Brandon Lowe was also placed in the IL with left oblique tightness, retroactive to July 8th. He could technically return Friday for the first day of the second half, though I don't know. I remain a little bit skeptical about that. So if you need second base replacement, Scott, I think in shallower leagues, the 2 names that stand out most are the Marlins guys, Xavier Edwards and Otto Lopez. Who do you like more between those 2?
It's a close call. Lopez has been better to this point, but I feel like Xavier Edwards is trending up. He hit over 320 in June. He's hitting over 320 in July. He's not running as much as we saw last year, but we know he's capable of doing that, particularly with as much as he's been getting on base lately. So I kind of see them trending in opposite directions going forward. Lopez may be trending down a little. Edwards trending up. I'll give the edge to Edwards.
All right, and then some names here in deeper leagues at second base. Polanco, again, he plays second and third. And Tyler Freeman with the Rockies, who's been leading off and hitting for great batting average. He makes a ton of contact. He can steal bases too. So definitely a name to look at there as well. That is Tyler Freeman. Let's take a quick break. When we return, we'll get to some other headlines from the weekend. We'll do that right after this.
They want to take this place from us. My family is in danger. My wife is lost to me, and I don't have time.
1923, new season now streaming exclusively on Paramount Plus.
Welcome back in FBT Express, and let's take a look at some other headlines from the weekend. Sean Manaea made his season debut with the Mets, and he was pitching in long relief on Sunday at the Royals. 3 1/3 innings, 1 run allowed, 7 strikeouts to 0 walks, 13 whiffs on 65 pitches. The velocity was up in this one. We know he was really great in the second half last season as well. Scott, what'd you see here from Sean Manaea? Is he a must-add if still available?
Yeah, I would say he is. He was my most drafted player, I think, or one of them anyway. And then he got hurt. I held on to him in all the leagues where I had him because I was uh, that encouraged by the way he kind of just kind of a late career breakthrough last year when he completely changed his delivery. A start in July, late in the season for the Mets, he saw Chris Sale on the other side pitching for the Braves, him throwing from that low arm angle, and Manaea said, "You know what? I need to try that. It seems to be working for Sale." And he just took off after that. He basically was an ace the rest of the season, much better strikeout numbers, much better swinging strike rate. So I was anxious to see how it would go for Sean Manaea after this long layoff, given the dramatic change he made to his delivery last year. It seemed to be there. He seemed to be dropping low again. He got 10 whiffs just on his fastball, and that was really the main benefit of making that adjustment, is it turned his fastball into a swing and miss pitch, just because it has that rising effect as it crosses the plate. So it still seemed to be intact. He was actually hitting velocities or averaging velocities a little higher than last year. So I was very encouraged by what we saw here from Manaea. I think there's a good chance with him using that low arm angle still that he could be a game changer in the second half.
All right, one more pitcher I want to ask you about, Scott, and that is Chase Burns, who we had a lot of hype on, a lot of excitement for when he got called up by the Reds. Has been a rocky start to this point. No pun intended. But he was facing the Rockies this weekend where he looked much better. 6 innings, 2 runs, 10 strikeouts to 3 walks, had 15 whiffs on 95 pitches. The overall numbers still look pretty rough here, Scott, but in case anybody was thinking about dropping Chase Burns, obviously don't do that. I do think there is a chance he turns into a must-start pitcher still here in the second half of the season.
Yeah, I expect he will. The overall numbers look rough, mostly because one of his 4 starts, he allowed 5 earned runs in 1/3 of an inning. Yeah. So that's going to skew the stat line. I think the other 3 starts have been pretty encouraging. 8 strikeouts in 5 innings. The first one, 7 strikeouts in 4 2/3 innings. The third one, and then 10 in 6 innings, 10 strikeouts in 6 innings in this one. So he's definitely missing bats at a nice rate. It seemed like only a matter of time before he'd have a start like this. And I think before the second half's done, we'll be viewing Chase Burns as a must-start pitcher in fantasy.
All right. For more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to our full-length podcast, Fantasy Baseball Today, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today Express, and we will be back again tomorrow. Bye-bye.